All right.
Okay.
I want to call this meeting, Zoom meeting, board meeting of Tuesday, July the 7th, 2020, 7/7/41. And it's the Summit Waller Community Association. I'm President Larry Volland, and we have Vice President Angela Angove, and we also have board member Bob Corris, and we have board member and secretary John Goodspeed, and board member Jen Bosworth with us this evening, along with our host, our webmaster, Gabriel Tetrell. We'll go ahead and start off with the minutes. Angela sent those minutes out, and we've had a chance to look them over. So therefore, I would like a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Who was
It's
that?
been moved by
It's Bob.
Bob
Okay,
and seconded
I'll
by,
second.
okay, John has seconded. Any discussion on the minutes? All right, hearing none, let's go ahead and vote. Those in favor of approving the minutes from June the 2nd Zoom meeting signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Those opposed? Okay, hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Moving on to the treasurer's report. Our treasurer, Russell Reed, is still at work. He has not sent us a July, actually a June. Let's see, I guess I spelled that. It should be July's. Actually, it would be June's treasurer's report. He may join us later on. However, in talking with Russell on the phone, we were discussing at about 6 o'clock tonight whether July was the month that we normally make a donation of $600 to the Mid-County Community Center. And I look back in our records, and yes, July is the month. So I guess we need a motion to make a similar donation of $600 this year to the Mid-County Community Center. Any discussion? Okay, let's move along to have a motion to approve a $600 donation to the Mid-County Community Center this year.
So moved.
Moved
Angela.
Angela moves, okay.
Okay,
All right, I think that was, Jen, was that you?
I was trying and Angela was trying. So do you want to rock, paper, scissors or what?
We'll go alphabetical order. We'll go Angela,
right,
put
you
the
get
second in, and Bosworth did the second.
All right.
Okay,
Sounds
got it.
good. Good to me. Sorry, John.
Yeah, you'll have, because I can't tell who's talking necessarily, so you'll
That's
have
okay.
to, on a motion.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve a $600 donation to the Mid-County Community Center. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, moving on down to the Mid-County Community Plan revisions. As you can see on our agenda, if you were to click on that, you go right there, and they do have some updates. But basically, the Pierce County Council has put everything on hold for now. And when they take up this issue again, they will let people know how they can attend the meetings and provide input. But right now, it's all kind of on hold. And I think that occasionally there's some updates that staff puts on there. And so you can go to the Mid-County Community Plan and see what the latest updates are for that. Any Any discussion on that? Yeah, most of the updates are that I noticed today revolved around the corridors along 112th and Canyon Road, south of 512. All right.
Sorry.
Okay. Moving on to the League of Women Voters virtual, excuse me, I'm sorry. Let's go back to number 2. The 2020 newsletter to Summit Waller businesses. Now, I would have to say that in the past, I'm the one who's gone around and delivered newsletters to businesses. They were all very nice. They appreciated me stopping by and providing them with one or more copies of the newsletter. I don't think we've gotten a great deal of response from businesses as to supporting memberships or anything like that. So I wanted to discuss that with the rest of you that are on board here tonight. We do have about 200 newsletters that are sitting at my house. I did put them out on a chair this last several days. Unfortunately, it was during the 4th of July weekend. So, but anyway, no one has shown up to pick up any of the newsletters. So I'm wondering, I'd like some input as to whether it's worth our while at this time. I know we're dealing with a COVID-19 virus outbreak, and we are in the midst of a surge right now. I don't mind wearing a mask and just dropping things off real quick in and out. But I'd like to know how the rest of you feel. Should we hold off on doing this till later on in the year, although that kind of dates our newsletter, or am I facing a situation where we just are going to be dumping a bunch of newsletters?
So Larry, I've been meaning to come by since last week to pick up the newsletters, and I have it on my calendar to do it tomorrow.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'll come and pick up a stack, and then I will try to distribute those. Because you said you had from 96 north, correct?
Yeah, the 72nd.
So I'll hit 96 south.
Okay.
I'll do it. So I don't know
Right.
how many I need. I don't know how many businesses there are.
Yeah, I'll put a separate thing out. I'm thinking that probably 25 or 30 of them should be fine.
Yeah, because there's several in that little complex there where the chiropractor is and stuff. So
Yeah, I've gone upstairs, and if their office is open, I go in and say hello, and then here's some newsletters, and off I go. Or if they're not open, you can slip them underneath the door or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I think we should at least distribute them, even because at some point then they're just going to be completely out of date, pointless. So, and we paid for them, we might as well use them. So
I was wondering if Jen would swing by and pick up some for, let's say, Tucci. They were really always pretty nice. They appreciated getting 2 or 3 newsletters to spread around their office.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's the Thunderbird. They always appreciated it. In the restaurant, they were willing to put a bunch there.
I can do that.
Oops, I think we got a call from Don Massey here. Just hang on here a second. That's Don. Yes, we are.
I could probably do Smoking Willies too.
there you go.
Yeah.
No. You got a new invitation.
Hey Bob, did you see my message I sent you about the
Oh, let's see here.
property next to the fire department?
Yes.
The county did buy it.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that's what it's a retention pond because it's just a big hole right now. Yeah, I
Gabriel,
don't know
what
about the
date-
people who live on the east side of that, but I know that when they start doing their work for the retention pond, whatever they're doing across the canyon from us, I'm going to be doing some screaming if they don't put in some vegetation between us and the work that they're doing, because it's just going to open up to a lot more noise and visual
Mhm.
ugliness.
Okay, I'll have him send you a new one. All right, yeah, bye. Okay, Gabriel. I need to have you unmute.
Yeah, I
Okay,
just sent the email
Gabriel.
out to all board members again. I anticipated what that was going to be.
Okay.
I just sent it out
Uh,
now.
Could you send Don Massey another invitation?
He's on right
He
now.
was. Oh, okay.
I'm
All
here.
right.
Here he goes.
Okay, hopefully he'll be joining us here soon.
He's on the call now.
All right. Okay.
Just heard him.
We don't get to see your picture.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I can turn it on.
Come on, Don.
There you are.
Am I there?
I just see it.
Your name is,
Not yet.
Where do I click to get a?
Is it those three little dots at the top?
In the corner, you should see a mute button or a stop video, or it should say start video.
Oh, start my video.
But hit the
I just
start.
sent a
video.
request to start the video. There he
there
is.
you are.
There
Okay,
you
you're
are. There you go.
Okay. We can
that
only see
Patty
the
to
top
the
part of your
rescue?
face, though.
Sorry for all the confusion, folks.
Pat. Was that Patty to the rescue, Dawn?
Yes, it was, Jan. Oh, hey,
Okay.
while it's a quiet, we've got some new designer fabric for Corona masks, if anybody's interested.
All right, that's interesting. Don, we can only see the top part of your head, so if you could move the camera down a bit. Or move your screen, tilt your screen a little bit more toward you.
Looks like he locked up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well,
Moving on. He'll catch up.
moving on. All right. So, Jen, if you could pick up some newsletters to distribute to the Thunderbird and Tucci's, and then there's those businesses at the corner of 64th and Waller. If you would touch base with them, appreciate that.
Yes. I call
Okay.
that Pirate Corner. There's a
And-
parrot shop and a tattoo shop and a barber shop, and I figure if you want to be a pirate, that's the place to go.
Be sure and wear a mask, everyone. So, and also, if you could drop off some, maybe 5 or 6 to the high school, because teachers are probably going in and out of there even during the summertime, aren't they?
You want me to do the high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay. And just if you want to give me a call before you come over, then I can have them in a bag for you already.
All right. It won't be tomorrow, but I'll aim for Thursday.
Okay. Sounds great. Waller Road. I don't know, John, would you be willing to hit the few businesses from 84th south of the freeway?
84 to the freeway, sure.
Okay. Yeah, there's a landscaping place, and then there's anyway, there's about 3 or 4 or 5 businesses between 84th and 512. Okay, just again, give me a call beforehand and I'll have them out for you in a sack with your name on it. All right, let's move down to number 3, League of Women Voters Virtual Candidates Forum. We have that on our website, which is great, which is what we promised. The reason why I okayed us for co-sponsored is we really don't have to do anything other than just advertise it. So there's no money involved. It's just getting the word out. And so is it on our Facebook page as well?
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right. All I have to do is, and I'm going to do this tomorrow, I'm going to, for the people who are on our mailing list that have email addresses, I will send them a copy of when the candidates forums are. And that's kind of important because on the 9th is the Washington State Lieutenant Governor's, and you can do that and you can view that on TVW. Pierce County Sheriff on the 14th of July. There's also the 25th Legislative District on July the 20th. Those would be interesting for the people in our area, especially the
Larry?
one on the 30th, on the 20th. Yes,
What is TVW?
that's TV Washington.
TV Washington.
It's the City of Tacoma's free, like, public access television channel.
Okay,
Yeah.
and we can watch that online?
Yes, it's online.
Okay.
So I'm assuming you just go to TVW, search it.
Yeah, if you don't, it should be like tvw.org. It's similar to C-SPAN, only it's for Washington State.
Yeah.
Yep, tvw.org.
Okay.
RG. All right.
Mm.
Okay. I'm going to write that down. Okay. All right.
I think it's like channel 24 maybe, or 23 on
Something like that, yeah.
cable.
I misspoke. I said City of Tacoma. I meant State of Washington.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Moving on down to Orange Gate, 21.5 hours that I put in.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. This is the growing season, and of course, there's people that still continue to throw out garbage around there. So every time I go for a walkabout, which I tell my wife I'm going for a walkabout, so she knows what I'm doing, and the fastest I can do that is an hour and a half. So if there's anything major, then I'm at 2 hours. But while I was, well, first of all, yeah, while I was out there, I did discover there was a dome tent that was near 50th and 84th, and we got that removed. But the person left behind a big barbecue, the kind that uses a big propane tank. So I'm going to have to get another person, and we can kind of lift that over to the embankment and just roll it down to the road, so that Pierce County
roll it down the street to your neighbor where it got stolen from.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. And then a year ago, we had a big homeless camp south of 84th. If you take 46th Avenue, a straight line where it meets 84th, you go straight back to Pipeline Road, and where the high pressure gas line and Pipeline Road intersect off to the southwest was where the big homeless camp that Pierce County Parks had to clean up last year. Well, just about a week and a half ago, I was walking back north along that pipeline easement, right across from where the old homeless camp was. And I thought I noticed there's a little trail that went back in there. And so I'd never been back in that. So I had to kind of crawl on my hands and knees for about 5 feet. And then it opened up and went back there. And there's a big old king size mattress and a bunch of other stuff. So we'll have to cut a path in there for the first 5 feet. Myself and a couple other people will have to go in there and haul that out to either Pipeline Road and have the Parks Department come and pick it up, that stuff, or hoof it out to 84th and call Pierce County Response.
When are you planning on doing that, Larry?
Oh, maybe sometime next week. Maybe I can get, let's see, Don clicked off, or is he still there?
I'm back, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, voice
No, I
on.
see your,
Larry, the kids and I
Okay.
can come and help you.
Some of that area, I don't think you really want to expose kids to.
yeah, I
Oh,
haven't
is it that
checked it out.
bad?
It can be, it's not necessary. I'll help Larry if he'll get a hold of me. Also that maybe we could get a bulldozer and we could haul that burnout Jeep Cherokee that's sitting off the gas line trail.
Yeah, I'm going to wait to deal with that a little later on. I still can't find that truck, Don. You'll have to actually show me where it is. And I thought I knew every nook and cranny in that place. But yeah, I have my neighbor next door, and if I can get you, we should be able to take care of those two things sometime next week.
And Larry, I'm happy to help too if I'm available. So go ahead and
Oh,
reach out to
okay,
me.
Gabriel. All
I
right.
go in there and clean up a little bit too. It's only been like an hour this last month that I was in there picking up trash, but yeah,
All right.
I
Okay.
try a little bit when I can.
Yeah, and a 4th of July weekend, I at about 10:30, I went around. I have a little bullhorn that I got it, and it's amazing. You stop across the street from where the car is parked, and you just say you're parked illegally with this bullhorn, and boy, heads were popping up, and I could hear them say, "We got to get out of here," because at first I thought the car was abandoned, but people heads started popping up.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked really great. Yeah, and I only had just a wee little bit of fireworks to pick up this year instead of having to deal with pieces of fireworks for 2 months afterwards. Don, would you want to say something about the poisonous hemlock?
Yeah, the county noxious weed control people are so understaffed that they can hardly do anything. I think I'm just gonna let it go. There's both poison hemlock and water hemlock. Water hemlock is native to Washington, and though it is rated as the most vile, hazardous, toxic plant that we have in the state, because it is native to the state, it is on nobody's hit list. So, I could put a blurb on the Summit Waller Facebook site saying caution, but I think it would raise more ire of the county and everybody trying to warn the people than just let what happens.
What kind of hemlock is it?
It's water hemlock.
Water hemlock.
Yeah. And it's really, unless you're tuned into it, you cannot distinguish. Well, you can, but you got to know the nuances of the difference between water hemlock and poison hemlock. Poison hemlock is not indigenous to Washington, and it is on the hit list, but it is not a prioritized item at this time. So if the weed control people don't want to do anything, if the county parks are struggling to do anything, I guess I've gone as far as I can go.
Yeah. you know, if you want to see it, the county parks actually came in and chopped it down, and now it's growing back again.
Yes, because that is not the proper way of disposing of it.
Yeah. But if you were, there's one big blue sign on the north side of 84th Street. If you go in right by that sign and you go in about 50 feet, you'll see it just as you're entering into the pasture. It's off to the left. You'll see it, and once you take a good look at it, you'll be able to distinguish it wherever you go. All right, Orange Gate Park $50 park master plan process update. Anything there from anybody?
How much of that, there's 100 and some pages in that report. How many have even looked at the site maps to follow the trail and read the notes that are attached to it?
Yeah, I've gone through part of it.
Okay.
It's an extensive document.
Yeah, I've gone through most all of it. I tried to print out that, okay, the phase that they're dealing with now ends at the power station. It does not include any property of Orange Gate Park. Everything from Waller Road to the entrance to Orange Gate Park is pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of anything that I would think our community as an association would have any comments. It's mostly structural work, or excuse me, civil work on the trail design itself, and there are no amenities in that section that they're working on. So as far as Orange Gate Park, I don't see any activity for another 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And that might be optimistic timeline.
Right.
Are you talking about the Orange Gate Park master plan or the pipeline trail?
No,
Pipeline.
the Orange Gate Park master plan.
Oh,
Okay, I think Don was talking about the trail,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sorry for that.
That's all right. We can skip down and take that next, but any comment about the Orange Gate Park master plan? I think that's still on hold till later, isn't it?
Public outreach will be this fall.
Yeah, public
So
outreach.
we'll start hearing from the county here probably in the next couple of months.
Okay, all right.
Mhm.
That's basically all I wanted to deal with. The Pipeline Trail virtual open house is now online, and
Mhm.
Angela, you were suggesting some sort of a response letter from our community association.
If people had a chance to look at the materials and had any specific thoughts, concerns, then yeah, now's the time to provide those comments as an association. But if people looked at it and thought, looks good to me, then we've already provided a letter of support, I believe.
Yes, we have.
So I don't know that we would need to do anything else during the public comment period, unless we saw something that drew some concern from our part. Too much lighting, not enough lighting, not the right kind of intersection for pedestrians, not enough amenities, too many amenities, those sorts of things. So,
Well, it's pretty hard to read these maps and see what all their details is on lighting structures. I haven't been able to find that yet.
mhm.
I've got massive numbers of drawings for the Pipeline Trail if anybody wants to come by and take a look at it or borrow it for a few days.
Mhm.
So, these are all from that first public meeting that we had up at the community center. So I just grabbed as much different stuff as I could. So I think I have a pretty good stash of just about everything that they.
And I'm not sure that the design's really changed since then, Larry, because you've got So the stuff from the first open house, I mean, things have changed a little bit, but I don't think that they've really changed.
Yeah,
that
I don't
much.
think so either. And there was nothing that I personally saw at that meeting that I totally disagreed with. I know that they're contemplating not following pipeline maintenance road right through the park. They might deviate from the road and then come back to the maintenance road, but that has yet to be determined because they're trying to figure out exactly the best placement for a big parking lot,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
trailhead.
page 9 shows the crossing of the trail, and what you're talking about, most of the trail through the park does not follow the pipeline. It goes through the woods, and I'm guessing it's going to cost them $1 million just to go through the park. Seeing it's not on the pipeline right away as we know it today.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would like to ask, on phase 1, on the grant application is submitted for funding, who's that submitted to, and what is the dollar amount of the request? Is that public information?
Yeah, you should be able to ask Brianne that. Or do you want me to ask her?
Oh, if you want, I would like to know.
Okay.
With everything not being as financially fluid as it was 6 months ago.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's probably a state grant through state parks or the state recreation conservation office or something. But I can ask. I'm writing myself a note right now. It's like really raining at our house right now. Holy cow.
It's pouring.
It's
I know we're
really
supposed to
loud.
get some rain.
That's funny. I don't see a drop here.
Same,
Yeah, I
same
mean,
here.
it's
No rain.
pouring. Our gutters are overflowing right now.
Really?
Yeah, it's really loud on our carport
What-
and our jet cover.
Oh, I think I can hear
I
it.
gotta go shut my car window. I'll be right back.
Can
There
can any of you see this page out of the map?
Oh, I still can't see you, Dawn.
No, your camera's not working there, Dawn.
Oh,
I just see your name.
okay. Oh.
But I'll be ask Brianne who they applied for to grants and how much.
there you go.
Here you
Oh,
are.
okay, let me try this
Hey.
again. Can you see this map?
What page is that?
I believe it's 9 or 10.
Okay.
Now, this is the pipeline road as we know it.
Yes.
This is the trail going through the woods, and it leaves just after it enters and goes through the park. Crosses the street, parking lot wedged between, and then it heads into the bushes and doesn't come out until you can get up to the top of the hill.
Mm-hmm. Are you wondering why they're doing that?
I think it's for aesthetics, perhaps.
I think it's to avoid wetland impacts and
Oh, they got
the
there's
east.
a big bridge over the creek. You don't have, if you stay on the pipeline trail, there is no environmental impact.
That's true. But it's possible that, and that's a nice grade that goes down. I think the siting of the parking lot, plus there's a drop off that they have to go. And as a matter of fact,
It's too
there is
steep.
actually there's a historic Birds Mill Road that goes right through Orange Gate Park. And some of the things that our community association would be concerned about would be the route of the trail through Orange Gate Park, where the parking lot and the trailhead will be. The trailhead and parking lot will be. And whether there's going to be any kind of preservation in the future of Birds Mill Road through the park.
Well, I think with the printouts that I have, Larry, you and I could walk that and make some of that determination.
Okay. Yeah,
So
all right.
that is for 3 to 5 years away. So
Yeah.
we can take a look
We've got
at it.
time. But those should be our main concerns. The route, the siting of the trailhead and parking lot
Mhm.
are the two main things that we would be concerned about.
Mhm.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, that's there's a virtual open house now online, so I think any one of us can tap into that and make comments. And then if we have a meeting in August, then we can come back to it as to what we felt about the open house, the online open house. Anybody else? Gabriel, you have anything to tell us about the website?
No, the website's up to date. I'm just keeping it maintained with whatever articles and topics you want me to post there. I try to then copy it over to the Facebook group as well, if Angela's not doing it herself. So just keeping up with that.
All right.
Otherwise,
And both of you are doing a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, Gabe, thanks again for all your hard work on the website. It looks awesome.
Yeah, you're a godsend, literally.
thanks.
I mean, you scroll through it, it looks like a legit 2020 website instead of something from 1994. It looks great.
Yeah,
Two thumbs.
yeah.
Where's the camera? Two
Seriously.
thumbs up.
Happy to be a help. Yeah.
You
the
can
only
put your
thing-
little thumbs up icon in the corner
Oh,
down there.
I
Do a
forgot about
reaction.
those
You
things.
do a
the
reaction.
reactions. Yeah. So the only other thing I would add to it is the Instagram thing we were talking about doing for the photos. I haven't seen a lot of action on it. Everyone voted for it, but nobody's actually posted pictures with the hashtag yet on Instagram. So I've removed it until we actually have some content for pictures.
Okay.
Because right now it doesn't show anything. It just says no picture, no images
Yeah.
available. And it was kind of pointless. So when that starts becoming more active, I'll put it back in.
Awesome.
Does it stay up there permanently, or do I have to take it off every time?
Oh,
Goes away.
it'll eventually go away.
Eventually go
Okay.
away. All right.
Gabe, you remind me, is it My Summit Waller?
Summit Wall of Life.
Oh, Summit Waller Life. Okay, thank you.
That's what everybody wanted. Overwhelmingly.
I know.
Could you repeat that again? Summit Waller?
Life. All together, one word, hashtag Summit Waller Life on Instagram. And it has to be posted to Instagram for it to work.
Mhm.
All right. Moving on to Canyon Rim Estates update. Anything there, Bob?
Nothing new. It's been quiet.
Okay. All right. Streetlight request has been sent in. I haven't gotten a response back from Mark Williams. Just haven't had time to actually call him. But within the next week or two, I will give him a call and see where we stand there. I will inform him that the construction on Canyon Road has taken away 2 of our streetlights that our community association requested. So I'm assuming that they owe us 2 somewhere else.
Yeah.
So just to add to that, I actually, going down the road, you can actually see the spots where they're going to be putting in street lamp lights. They're circular cement plots with 4 studs sticking out of it, threaded studs. You can see where they're going to be putting street lights in the future. It looks like there's more now than there were before. I don't know if they're in the same spot, but it looks like they've added a few.
Yeah, they have. And they'll add sidewalks and all that too. Nuisance properties, Angela?
So I just had the one at 3325 96th Street East. I got a call from Don Brenson, neighborhood watch guy. and asked about it. So what's happening is the property, they're building a home, they're a single family residence right now, but up until just a few months ago, it was a vacant piece of property. And the owner was storing containers on it, on like semi-trailer containers. And some of them were refrigerated. So the refrigeration units run all night long, and the neighbors were just really thrilled about that. So back, I think in 2019, there was a code enforcement complaint made to the county, and they went through the whole process of trying to get the owner to comply. And of course, he never did. So they have filed I'm not going to remember the correct official term, but they basically filed a non-compliance letter with the property, meaning he never came into compliance with the code. So fast forward to now, he's building the house and he's still using the property to store these containers on. And I guess in order to get in and out of that property, the gate is very narrow. And so they have to negotiate a very tricky turn, and they sometimes block traffic on 96th Street East.
Yeah, they can block traffic for like 10 or 15 minutes and cars
Yeah.
can't get by.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I spent quite a bit of time on the phone with the code enforcement officer, manager Yvonne Reed, about it. And unfortunately, there's really not a lot they can do because they've already expended all the resources that they have on the county's code enforcement side to do all they can do. Yvonne did say that she is working on kind of the next step to that, which is, so right now, if you have a code complaint and enforcement action on your property, they say, oh, well, we're going to issue this fine, and it's $1,000. Well, they really have no way to collect it, and it really doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go to collections. So it just basically sits there as kind of an idle threat, which in this case, the guy's like, yeah, you really can't do anything to me. So Yvonne is working with folks at PALS and with the council to say, okay, we need to take this to the next step to say, when we issue a fine like that, we have the ability to either put a lien on the property for it or collect it in some way. So that's been one of her top priorities that she's been working on. She doesn't know when that'll happen. And in light of COVID, there's a lot of fines and things that are kind of getting pushed to the back burner just because of people's economic situations. So more to come. All we can do right now is to continue to monitor. And then if, I told Don if he wanted to have some of the neighbors file another complaint, if they could, it would reopen the case. That doesn't necessarily mean that anything will be very different, but that's it in a nutshell for that particular property.
Neighbors could possibly picket his place and shame him into.
They just hold a protest and cancel him out. I mean, that's a possibility. Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if there's enough neighbors, but.
Yeah. All right. Any other parcels of property that anybody wants to bring up?
Yes, there's one on 44th Avenue East. It's actually my direct neighbor to the north. If anyone's been on Nextdoor, and maybe even Facebook had it, they had dragged a car down the road in the middle of the night behind a truck and dumped it in front of Lidford Park. Unfortunately, because the cops didn't catch anybody doing it directly, and there's no evidence showing directly it was them. There's just eyewitness saying, I saw that truck and it's parked now in front of that house, the one that did the towing. There also been problems with them doing fires. They were burning some sort of plastic and chemicals in the back, and there's been calls to the appropriate agencies to let them know, and I think they've gone and talked to them. I don't know what's been done about it though. There has been some work to clean up the place, but I don't know if they're doing it in the right way. So it's not, I'm not the only person that's found out about it. I think his name's Brett. Can't remember his last name, but he's also somewhere further north from me, and he's reported numerous things about them. They're actually one of the most reported places if you actually go to the website for county code. So yeah, I don't know what's been done about it specifically because you only get the information from there. But they've been an issue for a little while. It's directly across the street from the brand new big house on 44th Avenue East.
What's the address?
6806 44th.
6806.
So, and just before the call for our meeting today, they were launching fireworks. So, and there was a call placed for that too. So it's just one thing after another after another. So
These are, sounds like just despicable people.
yeah, I'm just not very responsible to the neighborhood. That's where I'll put it at.
I'm there.
All right.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Let's see. Well, the property that's just to the south of the coffee shop at 72nd Canyon, it's been cleared out for a while now. There was a report from a neighbor of some homeless people wandering through. From the neighbor who lives immediately next to it, apparently. My neighbor who lives on the other side of the canyon from it said that he hasn't heard anything going on over there. He hasn't smelled any burning plastic over there. Things have been great. But there was a query with the county as to when they were going to start putting up some fencing around it. And Susie Omega with PCROW, whatever ROW is, says they're trying to get a payoff amount on the property because there are a lot of liens on it. Once that's taken care of, then it has to go through escrow. Once it closes, the county will put a fence up, but who knows how long before they get the liens taken care of and it goes through escrow. But oh boy, it'd be nice if that area was fenced off.
Sure. Well, it looks like it's headed in that direction. Hopefully that despite this COVID-19 thing, we'll see some movement in the right direction here pretty soon.
Bob, did you make a comment about what ROW was?
I'm not, it's Pierce
Right.
County and it's,
Right.
okay. Susie Omega with PCROW.
I'm
So I'm not sure it's right away.
Don, what did you say?
I'm pretty sure to be right of way.
Right away. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else on that topic? Okay, moving on down to new business and our bylaws. I have redone the bylaws. I just have one last trip to go through to make sure that I've got everything the way I wanted it to be, and it'll be ready for your input this month. I will send you a copy of our current bylaws, and then I will send you another attachment, the proposed new bylaws that I put together. There is quite a bit of difference. There were just a lot of stuff that just doesn't pertain to how we operate things at this point. So welcome your input. In the next month or two, we can get around to a point of approving a new set of bylaws. They were last revised in 2008. So expect to see that probably next week sometime for your review. Any questions on that? All right, moving on to Canyon Road Extension Agricultural Solutions. I forwarded you what was sent to me, and Angela, you were on that crew that dealt with that issue.
Mhm.
Can you give us some information?
Well, and I can just kind of reiterate what I said in my email, in that when the Canyon Road extension project started gaining momentum again, they had quite the interest from the agricultural community. And, we've talked about this at a couple previous meetings. And so they decided to have a series of these kind of listening sessions. And at one of the listening sessions, the agricultural concerns were at the top of the list. And so they decided to hold it was a Zoom meeting, or actually go-to meeting for farmers and property owners down there to participate. So we had someone from Storino and Pica, a couple others participate, and I was just there with my county hat on, mostly as a surface water management employee, to answer some questions about some of the planning efforts that we're doing in the Clear Creek Riverside area and how those might tie in. It was really good, productive, hour and a half meeting. We looked through the materials that you were able to see were the same ones that we went through the PowerPoint presentation, and then went through the probably the most interesting one is that graphic that has several pages, and I call it the stoplight graphic, where it has green, yellow, and red kind of circles in it, suggesting that here was an idea that was brought forth by the agricultural community. Pierce County looked at it and said, oh, actually, we could probably accommodate that. And so they put it as green and said we could implement that. Then they had a yellow category, which meant, okay, we need to probably talk more about that specific idea, have a better understanding of what that really means. There might be some challenges. And then there were some that were a red category, which were probably not likely going to happen due to funding constraints or safety regulations or roadway design configuration or whatnot. And so we walked through a lot of those. So there'll be another workshop that's focused just mostly with the agricultural community to go through some of those additional items in the kind of that yellow range that require a little bit more discussion, a little bit more thought into that. Yeah, so it was really interesting to kind of just be listening, and then also had my Summit Waller hat on once in a while to kind of pipe in to give my 2 cents on that too. But it was a good, productive meeting with a lot of really good ideas thrown out, some crazy ideas also. So we'll see what comes next.
All right, questions of Angela? I would encourage everyone to take a look at the summary of that meeting. It looked like the Picas, Dan and Russ, asked lots of questions. And I would like to remind you that Dan Hare made a very good point when he said that to legitimize our rural separator, we need to make sure that we have the Riverside area remain as much agricultural as possible. So we need to keep informed about what's going on down there with this Canyon Road extension down through the valley there and across the Puyallup River, Clark's Creek.
Yeah, I was going to say there was quite a bit of discussion on how to, well, there was a lot of interest from the farmers and property owners to kind of somehow informally or formally designate that area as a farming area or an agricultural production area, similar to other areas, I think up in Skagit and Snohomish County. So as people were entering in on Canyon Road, to know that, oh, this is an area that is of some sort of significance, or is very special in a certain way. So thinking of what that might look like, what kind of signage that might include, where that signage would be. And so I think there is a lot of, I think the county is very amenable to accommodating that request from the farming community. And so I think that'll be helpful moving forward.
I think Dan made it pretty clear that that sort of signage would be appropriate, not only for that area, but also to help legitimize our rural tag as well.
Agreed. Agreed.
Okay, the Canyon Road Regional Connection Project, the river crossing portion of it, there's an online open house, virtual town hall on July 23rd. Actually, that should say 7 to 8 p.m. I'm sorry, that's a misprint. Yeah, it's just 1 hour, and they ask that you RSVP. Angela, any suggestions on our involvement with that?
I mean, you know, it's technically, I mean, it's just on the border of our area. It's basically, I think, like you said, 52nd to the other side of the river. The biggest and most prominent discussion is going to be about the bridge and the intersection and how traffic flows. And there's river levees there. The tribes actually own the riverbed at that location, so the tribes are, you know, a huge stakeholder in that. I'd have to do a little bit more thinking about that, but other than, you know, we could reiterate our desire to keep it rural and to keep it focused on agriculture again, avoiding impacts to nearby residents if possible. But it's a big structure. I just don't.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the renderings. I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, some people are going to get bought out. Some people are going to have to, you know, have right of way purchased in the front yard. Some people are. It's kind of a mix.
It's going to be a big deal going over River Road, over the river, and then over North Levee Road.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really big structure. And then there'll be a pedestrian crossing underneath.
Yeah.
Not that a lot of people use it for pedestrian crossing currently, but that's what they'd like to add. So. Yeah.
I will so miss that long stretch of road waiting for the four-way stop on Levee to get onto the bridge.
Yeah.
Where I listened to my books and tape
Yeah.
in length. Darn.
Yeah, hopefully it will improve that, because the bridge will obviously be much bigger and much safer. But
yeah. I don't think any of us will miss the Milroy Bridge when it's gone.
Nope.
I don't think so either.
Especially that shaking as a large truck goes over it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the fun part of it. A little scary. It's like being on a roller coaster that might just go off its tracks.
Hey,
I was a little
where are they
surprised
going to?
that they didn't decide to turn that into pedestrian bridge separate from the new bridge going in. They've done that in a few areas where they just convert a bridge into a pedestrian bridge only.
Yeah.
Just to keep it there, because you know it has its plaque on it and stuff like that too. So
Well, the Puyallup Bridge needs some company. Maybe this one can go visit it.
well, there you go.
Well, that bridge is structurally getting to the point of being unsound. I really doubt that they would actually keep it just for pedestrians.
It would cost a lot in maintenance, and they've already designed in pedestrian and bicycle accommodations for the new ones. So there'd be no reason to keep the old one. Doesn't have any historic significance.
Unless you're a lover of old steel bridges, Bob, then I could see why somebody might really wanting to keep it. Just like people wanted to keep pieces of the Seattle Viaduct. So even though it was dangerous and a lot to maintain.
I guess I just haven't looked. Is that the old Puyallup Bridge that they took out and stored alongside the?
Is it
still there?
Is it still there?
Yeah.
It's still for sale for $1.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know
I
at one
keep
point the Rails to Trails people were gonna
thinking
buy
they should
it.
put some swings on it.
Some swings.
Yeah.
They're gonna end up cutting it up, and they're gonna end up cutting up the Milroy Bridge too for scrap.
Oh, most likely, yeah.
Okay, moving on to dangerous roadway areas in the Summit Wall area. Bob, you expressed an interest in something
Well,
about
I don't know if it's worth our time. I know that there have been concerns expressed to the county by this organization before regarding sections of road, I think particularly 104th and then pieces of Vickery. And with the recent fatality wrecks that have occurred, if anybody thinks it's maybe time to push the county again for what, and possibly get into a discussion with them on what can be done to make the roads around here a little safer, because they certainly have more traffic than they were ever designed for, most of them. And is it putting in more flashing lights at intersections, or what can be done? Although the last one that was on 104th and Woodland, the 15-year-old driver just blew through the stop sign. They had to be going that fast in order to get air going east through that intersection.
Yeah, the actual intersection was Fruitland.
Oh, it's Fruitland. Okay, I thought it was Woodland.
Yeah.
Did I was down that street the morning after, and there was paint marks on the highway, and I drive that. I take the dog over to Bradley Lake Park every morning, and I have not seen anything that I would recommend a correction on. Not 104th. The accidents I monitor Pulse Point. There is more traffic incidents at Fruitland and 104th, but there's more traffic on Woodland and 104th, and the visual line sights at the turn on Fruitland and 104th is quite limited in many directions. You can't look left to right and see if there's a car coming that's going to blow the light, even regardless if it's a four-way stop or not.
So that's actually something I remember, because I grew up off of 104th, and Woodland and Fruitland, when I was a kid, they weren't four-way stops. So that was a response from the county or city to put those in at some point. I don't remember when it happened. Maybe it was after I had moved away or had moved to Waller. But at some point they did do that, and now you're saying I didn't know about the accident, but you're saying it's not effective.
Yeah. Fruitland is probably Puyallup, and that is got signals. Woodland and 104th only has stop signs, and that's by far a safer intersection. Those paint marks, they had to be going probably maybe even in excess of 100 miles an hour. That car left the ground multiple times, and I don't think it's an error in the highway construction.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Fruitland and 104th does not have good sight lines. Plus, it's in the Puyallup urban growth area. It's not in our Summit Waller area. Our Summit Waller area ends at Woodland and 104th. And Woodland and 104th has really good sight lines in all directions. As far as the 72nd thing, going down the hill, it's possible that we as an organization could recommend flashing lights going around that curve because people would be going faster going downhill rather than coming up the hill.
Well, Larry, I actually don't think that it's not so much those two locations need some sort of work or that's our concern, but we have these kinds of things happening in our neighborhood, and we can say we don't want it to happen in these other places where we've already documented issues and talked with you before. We think we need to get a little more serious about them. Where the rollover happened at 72nd, that was purely too much speed. That was somebody who had been spotted first by a county sheriff's deputy going down, I think
85th and
maybe
then
Golden Gibbon or
I heard Golden
somewhere in that
Gibbon.
area in excess of 100 miles an hour. They're spotted by another deputy's vehicle. And then the next thing, they rolled down on that corner on 72nd on that curb. But I mean, even if you're doing 50, which is well above the speed limit, you can make that curb. It's just more with these events happening, can we get the county's attention on what we've identified as dangerous areas?
The speed limit's so low through there, and there already is corner, arrow signage. It's there. But what more can you do besides putting a series of speed bumps down a hill to get people to force people to slow down, and then that impacts the traffic even more than it is. So I mean, it's just people ignoring the law, and the unfortunate reality of the situation. How much more can you do about that?
Mm-hmm.
I think we would all agree that we've probably observed a lot more vehicles speeding in our areas than we have before. I mean, just today there was a couple of cars going down 80th Street at 60 miles an hour or higher, and it's so quick you couldn't get out your cell phone quick enough to take a picture. I've experienced that on 84th Street too. I mean, people are just going faster.
There's a lot of bored teenagers without anything to do right now either. So
Yeah, you're probably right.
and the traffic died on 72nd Street. That seems to have helped with some of the accidents that were really showing up at 44th and what is the next one? 52nd or 50th, the one that comes down. Yeah. So that seems to have slowed that down quite a bit because you're not getting much people flying past other cars. They have to restrict to that one lane on each side.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, the turning people are in the middle lane, which takes them out of the traffic entirely. So I have seen less accidents since that. It was almost a monthly occurrence, it seemed, every other month, somewhere along that distance between 44th and Canyon along 72nd.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't necessarily crazy big death accidents, but they were still a lot of accidents because people turning into and out of the roadways and intersecting with traffic going too fast.
Okay. Our neighborhood, any other comments?
I was just going to say, to answer Bob's question or idea about approaching the county, about kind of getting serious about specific locations. And I think we can always ask for that. Of course, anecdotal evidence is one thing, but traffic data is another. So, they did some recent traffic counts on Vickery, and then they sent that out, which of course wasn't real encouraging for us because they weren't really going to do anything. But if there are specific locations, and we can look in and we can request traffic counts or collision data, and a lot of that's online too. If we have a specific concern, let me say with Waller Road curve, if that's still a concern, we're still seeing the same problems, then we just keep going back to the county.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Well, the neighborhood watch meeting that Don Brunson holds every month, again, was canceled. It was supposed to be on July 3rd. The Adopt a Road for Saturday, June the 20th was canceled. However, at this point, our Saturday, October the 3rd, Adopt a Road is still on. As we get closer to that date, John will let us know whether the county has Adopt a Road up and running again or not.
Yeah, I will go ahead and submit. All I got to do is change the dates on the application for the equipment and send that in. So at least it will be in, because once they open it up, I suspect that they will have a backlog of people wanting. So I'll get our equipment in, our request in right away, and just refax that in, even if they say, you know, it's pending. We have no idea. They probably just say we have no idea when we'll open it up, but at least we'll have our request in there.
Yeah, I have seen people along Waller Road that live along there doing some garbage pickup, which is nice to see.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
mainly south of 72nd, which is easier to do than north of 72nd.
I noticed Pioneer's looking pretty bad again between
It's awful.
River Road and Waller.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's looking pretty awful.
It's
I was like, didn't they just clean this up? I mean, wasn't it?
It's been a year.
Has it been a year already?
Oh, yeah.
Oh God, I
So
just drove through the other day and was just appalled. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Maybe I can get Dan, since he was not here tonight, to craft another letter to Curtis Kingsolver in
think
Tacoma.
I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll do
Has
that.
Dan caught on that whenever he doesn't show up, he gets letters to write?
Yeah. He hasn't caught on yet.
Okay, I won't tell him.
Me neither.
I'll just make sure I keep showing up.
All right. All right. Our next scheduled board meeting would be August the 4th. My two questions. One, do we want to have a meeting in August, or it probably will be another Zoom meeting for sure. What comments?
That's my husband's birthday. It would be frowned upon to come to a neighborhood Zoom meeting.
Oh, good. We'll have you doing a bunch of letters then.
Yes.
I know. That's what I'm worried about.
I think maybe we could do a check-in a couple weeks before just to see if we have any, like we did this month, just to see if there's any items worth discussing.
Okay. All right.
I had one more thing before we close, Larry.
All right.
In case people did not see it, on our Facebook page, somebody shared a call from the United Way of Pierce County, and they are looking for families and students in the Franklin Pierce School District to be part of a family and community advisory council. So they are wanting to work with other community members to implement solutions to challenges faced by families in the Franklin Pierce School District. And members are compensated for their time with a small stipend, and Spanish translation will be provided. There's a link for people to go and watch a short video that tells you a little bit more about it. So if you know of anyone that is in the Franklin Pierce School District and is interested, pass it along. It's on our Facebook page.
Okay. All right.
I used to be a full-time employee of United Way in Orange County, California for about 9 years. They're a fantastic organization. So definitely if you or anybody else knows or has a heart to reach out to the community, they're a great organization to work with.
Cool.
All right. Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in on our Zoom meeting, and I wish you the best during the month of July. We're going through some tough times right now, and it looks like they could get tougher before they start to get better. So I know that my wife and I are praying for everybody, and we'll keep you in our thoughts. And Gabriel, thank you for everything that you do. And Angela, your connection with the county is priceless for our organization.
Yeah, I was, well, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Jen, anything you'd like to mention before we close?
I was trying to check. I didn't know what neighborhood is 102nd if the zip code is 98444. Is that out more toward Lakewood or Parkland? Or is
Ooh,
that, do we have
This
any
is
98?
98446. Angela, what's your zip code?
445.
445?
102nd Street South, 98444.
Oh,
Well, let's
okay.
take a quick peek. I'll look it up here. Looks like it's Parkland.
Okay.
It's on the other side of Pacific Avenue.
All right. I just want to make sure that I didn't think it was in our neighborhood, but I wanted to double check because there's a march there in a couple of days.
Okay.
So I didn't know if it was going to pertain to us or not.
Mm,
So it doesn't
Nope.
sound like it does.
nope.
Okay.
John, any last comments?
No, I don't think of a thing that I need to add.
Okay. Bob?
Nope.
Okay. Don?
Yeah, call me when you want to go clean up the park.
Okay, I will. I'll give you a day or two ahead of time.
Okay.
All right. Again, thanks everybody for attending. Our meeting is adjourned.
Okay. See you in
Thank
September.
you.
Thanks.
See
Bye.
ya.
Good night,
Have a good night.
Good
All
night.
right.